So we have our first top 8 in Modern. The cards are not legal in paper yet, but Modern Horizons 2 is legal online. And it's a very funny metagame because, hey, maybe the results are a bit skewed based on card availability and the price of some of those cards based on their availability. But here we are. We've got our top 8. And by the way, it is pretty heavily dominated by Shardless Agent. All right, so first place was a blue-white Ephemerate Yorion deck. We can take a quick look at this. Congratulations to Kiko winning the first, basically open Modern event in this Modern Horizons 2 metagame. We have to, generally 3 Teferi, Charming Prince. It's basically more like a mid-range deck, if anything else. Stoneforge, Mystic, Thalia, Garden of Thraben, Watcher of Tomorrow. What the hell is this name? It's not Control at all. This is just a Stoneblade deck. I should have looked at this more carefully. This is just purely Stoneblade. All right, Stoneblade already out in front, which I think are they playing with the blue free spell? They are not. I thought that this might be the closest you could get to playing I think it was Solitude. Anyway, this deck is playing with Ephemerate, so you can like blink your Flicker Wisp, your Elite Spellbinder, Charming Prince. Oh, it is playing Solitude. Card is just not up yet. So I always thought that if Solitude had a space in Modern, it had to be in a deck that could suck up the 2 for. Oh no, this is the wrong. Okay, this is a slam dunk one. I forgot it was the Subtly that I thought would be in a deck like this. Okay, this one is an obvious one. This one's an obvious one. And I lost my place. Well, whatever. Okay, so first place. Oh, I was looking at how many of these do I have open? Whatever, I'll close them. No problem. Okay, so we do have 5-color humans. Now this would be our first Shardless Agent deck. And I wasn't sure that if they were going to play this card because when you play Shardless Agent, you cannot use Ether Vial to get the Cascade trigger, so you have to cast this card. And second, it wasn't clear that you want to use Shardless Agent because you cannot hit your good cards. Like you can't hit Reflector Mage, you can't hit Mantis Rider. You have to hit the smaller, like crappier cards like Champion of the Parish, Kitesail Freebooter, Meddling Mage, Noble Hierarch. You can hit Ether Vial off of this. If you have an empty board and you hit Phantasmal Image has to resolve first. You might not have anything to copy. So I wasn't sure. Like the best things you can hit are probably Thal's Lieutenants, maybe Thalia, pending the board state. So I wasn't sure that Shardless Agent was going to make the cut, but as we see in the initial this initial event, that Shardless Agent has been adopted in the humans deck, I guess just to grind them, I mean, it's still human rogue, but still human nonetheless. Human. Can I zoom in a little bit more? Not too much. Zoom. All right, so that was second place. Amulet. I think the only upgrade that they made was they played Urza Saga and Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, so they're not going to have as much trouble getting that double green, even if they have a bunch of random extra lands on the battlefield. But Urza Saga, so basically they play Urza Saga turn 1, or whenever the hell they want to play it, and then by their 4th turn they'll have access to Amulet of Vigor. That is the point. They'll almost always have access to Amulet of Vigor now. And they'll have like a really explosive turn on turn 4. It's very easy for them to like stabilize the battlefield early on in the game with their, their Arboreal Grazer, the Dread, the Elysian Grove. They can stall. And then when they have the Amulet out, thanks to Urza Saga, then they just go off. Okay, what else? But that's not the whole story. So, like, look at how many Shardless Agent decks there are. Teamer Rhinos, Living End, Living End, Living End. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Shardless Agent decks in this top 8, in this initial top 8. Here we are, Shardless Agent. And it's going to blank on the Bloodbraid Elf. Well, I mean, Bloodbraid Elf can hit the Shardless Agent, but it doesesn't hit, you know, Bone Crusher Giant, Brazen Borrower, Magus of the Moon, Seasoned Pyromancer. It's just going for this Crashing Footfalls, maybe a Fire and Ice, maybe a... Is that it? I think that's all. Those are all their targets in this particular build. And I'm wondering, you know, here's an interesting thing. Where's the Is It Prowess? Where's it? Let's look at, I mean, where's the Is It Prowess in this entire list? There's like one Is It Prowess deck. Where's Is It Prowess? It's like it's gone. Hold on, do I see one? Okay, Blue-Red Prowess right here. 2 parts, 2 win. Just trying to keep it alive. And I'm wondering if it's because of this Crashing Footfalls. I mean, 2 8/8 creatures stone blocking their ground, like their ground creatures. And like none of the removal spells kill these things. You have to use multiple removal spells to kill just one 4/4 creature. So this is enormous. So this is fantastic. Oh, Stomp. Wait, you can Cascade into the Stomp? I thought it bricked on Stomp. It's looking for 3 drops. Huh? Or you talk? Oh, maybe there's a question earlier. It can hit Stomp. No. You can only hit Stomp off the Shardless. Okay, so how I understand it and how it should be. What you do is you can Cascade. You can Cascade with Bloodbraid Elf, and then you can find like a 3-mana spell like Bone Crusher Giant, and then you have the option to cast Stomp if you want. But it's first going to check for 3 CMC. Shardless Agent will just dodge all the 3 CMC creatures, and then go straight to Crashing Footfalls. Go straight to Crashing Footfalls. You only ever hit the Footfalls. Okay. Yeah, they changed the rules on split cards, correct? This is a 4 CMC card now. Excellent. So this is what... Anyway, I think this might be one of the reasons why we're not... And I'm seeing this deck a lot. Like, a lot of people are playing this deck. Big time. And I'm wondering if it is having a huge hurt on those Is It Prowess decks. Like, they now really depend on Stormwing Entity. Stormwing Entity and... what's it called? Stormwing Entity and... Sprite Dragon for victory. And this deck can stall those. I mean, you can kill the Sprite Dragon with a fire, or you can just ice the creatures above. Anyway, so... here's our one of the Shardless Agent decks. I think Shardless Agent so far has had the strongest impact on this recent open event. And then, of course, there are these 3 blue Living End decks. They're playing the blue Living End. Honestly, I don't think it's changed much. They're just playing green. They're just not playing with the other Cascade spell, the enchantment, and they replace with Shardless Agent, which is a useful creature. So they play Shardless Agent, find Living End. Living End is cast first, wipe the board, get their creatures back from the graveyard, then they get a Shardless Agent in play. Not bad. Not bad. You get an extra random creature. So 3 of these Living End decks made the top 8. It's a dangerous deck. It's a dangerous deck. So you go Violent Outburst at end of turn, and you can protect it with Force and Negation. Very powerful. This looks like it's the deck to beat on straight out of the most recent metagame. There's Living End decks like filling up this thing. Not big turn of events. I mean, this is a completely different metagame from from the last 6 months. I'm surprised there's not more Tron up here. Tron players got scared. This is a very different metagame. Very different metagame. Anyway, welcome everyone. Good morning. This is the morning show where we discuss all things Magic. Get your cups of coffee ready for a great discussion this morning. And also, we do Decklist reviews. So if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, submit it to us, and both myself and the community would love to give that feedback. So brew up those coffees and let's brew up some Magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for June 7th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Walter, Dennis, James, Wet Willie, Fraser, Michael, Cole, Veltenvosh, Velky, Hawkburn, Steve, good morning, Frederick, Will, Andreas, Thomas, Chuck, Skylar, Will, MTG Box, Lucas, Wet Willie, Leon Taz, Kipper, Burger, Cody, 27, Neocheck. Is Vengevine great again? Turn 2 Troll Kings, the next Hogak. We'll see what happens. But Vengevine is definitely coming back. The people are playing with these decks a lot. They have a lot of promise. They're really powerful. They're really strong. Let's not forget that Hollow One was a pretty damn good deck back in the day. Hollow One was very, very, very good. All Vengevine decks at their peak were really good decks. So to combine them both and like go over the top with Asmorano, that's interesting. Okay, so here's the deal with this card. You would think, how do we enable this card? So Asmorano is pretty damn powerful. If you've discarded a card, you can play this for 1 mana. You can play this for 1 mana. Enters the battlefield. You can search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, and put it into your hand. And it's just a card for 1 mana. You can tap, discard a card, make a food. And Asmorano says, sacrifice 2 foods. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. So you can kill anything. You can just kill anything with this. I mean, it kills all the creatures in Modern, basically. Basically kills all the creatures. So as long as you keep generating food, you keep winning. Now here's the question. What is the easiest way to cast this card on turn 1? Oh, Jamie, already there. Asmar is great. Cookbook, Street Wraith, Cycling Lands. Not even Cycling, it's a Street Wraith. Street Wraith was a card I didn't even think of until like I saw it in action. All you do is, pay 2 life, discard the card, and boom, you got this active on turn 1. Turn 1 play. It's really strong. I mean, I'm sure R&D assumed, hey, you had to work a little bit to get this thing online, but just discard your Street Wraith and get this thing online. That is just nuts. So anyway, this plus the cookbook makes for... I mean, you basically have to kill Asmorano. You're just dead. You're just dead. So the cookbook costs almost nothing. 1 mana. Costs no mana to tap, discard a card, create foods, and you can return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Apparently, like, Titan decks also use this. Some Titan decks are also using this. They can use the food, but they also really like the idea of returning one of their creatures, like return a Titan from the graveyard back to their hand. They have infinite mana. What do they care? They have infinite mana. Let's see. What do we got? What else do we got here? So should see a surge of Teferi, right? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, if these decks are super aggressive, like Teferi will be good versus it's sort of good versus Living End. They've got the answers though, right? They've got some answers like Brazen Borrower. So they might still have tools against Teferi. Not to mention those decks are also playing with Force of Negation. But Teferi probably should be seeing more play. Rutessel. Oh, by the way, if you're not familiar with the show, 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments that I'm getting from YouTube and Facebook. And thanks everyone for showing up on Facebook. We got Sean over there on Facebook. Thanks for showing up, Sean. Or you can cheat the system with super chats. If you make a donation on YouTube, then your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. We look at the challenge from yesterday too. Is it published? Is it public? I don't know if that one's public yet. It might be public eventually today, but I don't think it's public yet, as far as I know. Did you order Svielen, Dockhide, and Tide on paper? I did, actually. I did pre-order it. There is a little bit of fear in me that Svelun might go up in price after it gets released. Everyone is playing Merfolk right now. There's a lot of Merfolk 5.0s happening and being published on Twitter. Lord of Atlantis skyrocketed in price. There are definitely people that believe that Merfolk is going to be a deck. A lot of people are buying into the deck, so I actually did pre-order Svelun. I pre-ordered my own Sveluns. I rarely pre-order cards. Maybe in the very long run, it will go down in price. But anyway, either way, I don't mind paying a little bit more if I am upfront. I just need to own the card. First impression of the new Merfolk, it's great. It's very, very good. Oh, I've got a few super chats. Matthew, thank you very much for the super chat. Is there any reason why we don't see clerics as a modern playable try? It seems like there's a large enough pool of cards available because no one's tried. So basically, what it comes down to is you need a brewer, and they need to be a competent player to know, okay, what does this deck need in order to win in modern, and what tools from the cleric toolbox can answer those problems. And that's just what it comes. There's so many like decks in modern that haven't been discovered just because no one wants to put the time into it. So I mean, probably there is a cleric deck out there, but making it work is very difficult because someone needs to take the time to brew it and then put a lot of work into making it work. It takes time. Hey, playtesting is usually it's less expensive now because of rental services like Mana Traders, but it's still very time consuming to try to make something work. And you could easily have the right thing, but get unlucky for a few matches and just decide, you know what, this is just garbage. We're just going to abandon it. Eden asks, good morning, Nikachu. Do you think Urza Saga can be used as a control toolbox of sort? Put a 1-mana artifact main deck like Brainstone, Pithing Needle, Grafdigger's Cage, one of each of Urza. Maybe Pithing Needle and Grave, Grafdigger's Cage. I don't know about Brainstone, but yeah, there could be some. I mean, it's not even just for control. It could be any deck to go dig for a particular hate card. Maybe that could even be a toolbox thing in the sideboard. You like side in your 1-drop artifact hate, but you also at the same time side in some Urza Saga to go find them. Adrian, can you discard by hand size and play it, or you need to play it as a sorcery? I have no idea what you're talking about. You gotta be more descriptive with your questions. Can you discard? No, because if you discard by hand size, then your turn is over. The last thing you do for a turn is discard. No, you're talking about Asmarano. So you'd have no option to discard for that turn. Jun Food might seem possible, maybe. Primetime dies to a bad lunch. Asmo for the win. To bad lunch. Is that like a card? No, it's not. I'm not sure what this is about. Denver asks, can you share your preferred Merfolk deck? Also, yeah, Teferi maybe in a Bant Shell could be really good. I released on my alternate YouTube channel some gameplay already. You can find it at Nikachu MTG streams. I got the first video out, although I do believe that the deck is going to change by quite a bit. I'm starting to think that I should be playing with Mistcaller. I got to still see how the metagame is going to shape up. But I'm starting to think like maybe Mistcaller is well positioned. So like if you don't know what Mistcaller is, it's the at the very least I should probably have this in my sideboard. We got Mistcaller, 1 blue, 1/1, sacrifice it until end of turn. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. And so the deal is when I'm up against like a living end deck, I can just, when they want a living end, I sacrifice this creature and I just wipe everything out. I mean, they got some answers. They could bounce it in response. But the point is I've got like a creature that's also a hate card. And it also, I think it will be useful versus the Vengevine decks. So you want to bring those Vengevines back? Vengevine backs? All right. The Vengevines back. Just going to exile it. Also, it hits the suspend. No, it doesn't hit suspend cards because they are still cast. Where do I input my modern deck for you to look at it? There is a link to my Discord in the description. Go to and then follow the instructions. Go to Decklist review, the channel, and then follow the instructions. Try to follow the instructions everyone else does. Bloodbraid Elf, Shardless Agent, Inevitable Betrayal seems really good in Zoo. Not really. Inevitable Betrayal is just a little too janky. You're better off playing Crashing Footfalls. Inevitable Betrayal is a bribery, but like, what if you're bribering a control deck and they only have Snapcaster Mage? Then you're going to look silly. Do you think Hollow One could be played again? It is being played again. It is being played again. It is seeing play in Modern right now. Can Tron be competitive in today's meta? I would think so. I don't think there's anything particularly too dangerous for Tron. I mean, they don't even care about Asmarano. Historic meta seems healthy? Probably. Have you been to your local game store for Modern or going for Modern Horizons 2 pre-release? No, I have no intention of like where I am. We're sort of in a lockdown right now, so there's not going to be any paper magic for a while. How is Infect positioned in the new meta? Well, we don't know exactly what the new meta is. I have a feeling, like for example, if we look at the this top 32, it is. Some cards are so damn expensive that it, like, for example, Ragavan is, like, one of the most expensive cards in the set. Now, if we can just we wait a little while for the price to come down. Look at this. It's like, it's $70 US. Jesus. And online, I think it's over 100 ticks. I think it's a very expensive card. There might be more Ragavan decks available. And if more Ragavan decks are available, then that means more burn spells. And if there's more burn spells, Infect is not well positioned. But there were not many Ragavan decks in this top 8 here. Or this top 8 here. Or the top 32. Just because people just don't have access to Ragavan. So we just gotta wait. We're gonna have to wait like a little while to find out exactly what is going to be well positioned, not well positioned. But right out of the gates, I'm not seeing as much Is It Blitz as I used to. Sebastian, where do I... you asked that question, I think I answered it. I love people just duplicating questions over and over again. Can you show the 18th place Blight Spirits list? Sure. No problem, Dr. Katz. All right, we've got... are there any new cards in here? Sanctifier on Vex seems to be... Oh, and they're playing with Sanctum Prelate. And Sanctifier on Vex. So they just got, normal stuff. Drog, Skull, Captain, Wanderer, Rattle Chain, Selfless Spirit, Shacklegeist, Skyclave Apparition. All the usual suspects, but they're playing the one new... I mean, they're playing with Sanctum Prelate as a new card, and also playing with Sanctifier on Vex. The new Graveyard Hate card that has Pro Black, Pro Red. ETB, exile all cards that are black or red from all graveyards. If a black or red permanent spell or card not on the battlefield would be put into a graveyard, exile instead. What version of Death Shadow do you think will be the best after Modern Horizons 2? Probably Jund. Probably still Jund. There's some chance it could be Grixis because they can play with that new dragon that has Delve. There was a Grixis. Okay, let's go check out. There was a Grixis Delver deck in this top 32. Let's go check it out. Grixis Shadow with Lurrus. Okay, so it's not going to have... it's not going to have the dragon. Oh, but it's playing with Sprite Dragon. Okay, it has a dragon. A tiny dragon. It just goes to show this dragon is very underrated. Very underrated. Oops. What are the reprints would you like to show up in Modern Horizons 2? What are the reprints would I like? You mean show up in the metagame? In Modern? I don't know. I don't have any answer for that. It'd be nice to see a little bit of everything. Evan, any suggestions for cards to add to Jund Shadow to make it a bit more like Burn? I have a sweet list with Fling, and I want to speed the clock even more. Well, I mean, that's the point of Teamer Battle Rage, right? So, okay, so you have Teamer Battle Rage with Fling? Maybe have more of the... Oh, I think that's it. Like, I mean, you could just play with more burn spells, like, play with not Lava Dart, play with Lightning Bolt, just play like burn spells plus, your shadow stuff, and then boom, you've got like a sort of a pseudo burn list. What do I think are the best decks now? I don't know. I will say this, though. Living End was pretty good before Modern Horizons 2 came out. And the fact that it's got like an upgrade and is still performing very well and is likely to perform well against all these other mid-rangey decks is very good for Living End. So we'll see what happens. But Living End might be a really strong contender for best deck in Modern. Any good list with Urza and Looney's Artifacts, Token, Tribal? What? You mean Balloonist? I don't think this is the card you're talking about. Any good list with Urza? Not yet. I have not seen any Urza deck. All I know is that there was an Affinity deck in Legacy that won the Modern Challenge, playing with a lot of new cards. What do you think about Dothy, Gary, Aggro with Phyrexian, Obliterator, Thoughtseize, and Grief to keep away removal and counter magic? I would say your deck sounds a bit clunky. Phyrexian Obliterator is really hard to cast, really hard to get in play, and just dies to a lot of stuff now. Like, there was a time that Phyrexian Obliterator, it's this 5/5 thing that, like, if it gets dealt damage, you have to sacrifice that many permanents. But we got, like, a ton of answers now. Like, between, like, the only thing a long time ago was Path to Exile, but now we've got, I mean, it probably gets bounced by Teferi or Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Also, Skyclave Apparition. So I don't think it's as good as it used to be. You could still make, like, some sort of mono black deck, but I don't know if Phyrexian Obliterator should be part of it. And counter magic, Grief to keep away removal and counter magic. Yeah, you can still use Grief, but that, remember, that's a 2-for-1 when you're using. When you use Grief strictly for its, like, evoke part, then you're 2-for-1ing yourself, and in the end, those removal decks will chew you out anyway. Matthew, thoughts on some of the more powerful interactions in Modern now? I think the most powerful interactions... Okay, the most powerful interactions are, like, Hollow One and Vengevine decks. They're playing, you know, so Burning Inquiry is back, Goblin Lore is back, and they can, like, have these really explosive turns against you. And when they're discarding cards, they're discarding those 0-mana Madness creatures with the Root Wallas. So, I mean, we've got... this one's not... Is this Modern legal? No, it's not. But this one is! We have Blazing Root Walla. So they've got this in these Hollow One decks, which is just a 1/1. You can pay it red to give it +2/+0. You can only do that once each turn. But as Madness 0, so as you're discarding cards with your Goblin Lore and stuff, and your Burning Inquiry, cast it for free. That's great value. Great value. And other interactions is just the Crashing Footfalls interaction between Shardless Agent and finding Crashing Footfalls. Do you think artifact decks like Affinity or Hardened Scales could make a return to Tier 1? Maybe, but they have to work on it. Jacob, you asked this question too much. You're getting timeouts. Have you played against the new Hardened Scales or updated Humans? I have not. I haven't played against them. I've been playing against that Hollow Vengevine deck. I've played against quite a bit of Blue Eye Control, to be honest. Blue Eye Control seems to be quite popular, at least in the leagues, because they want to play with, like, Counterspell, their new baby. How is Richard Dockhand? I think it's not that good. Maybe Blue-Green Merfolk list is better at the moment. My initial impression of Richard Dockhand was that it was garbage. Like, it wasn't very good. It seemed clunky. But later, as I played it more, it actually felt like it was doing something. Like, if I went out of my way to tap my opponent's lands, it really actually felt like it did something, and it did win me some games. If you look at my league today on my other YouTube channel, you'll see that Richard and Dockhand put in a lot of work. So now I'm, like, a little undecided on this card. I still don't think it's really worth it, but it's not pure trash like I thought it was I thought it was after my initial playtesting. In spoiler season, I thought it was good. Then I started playing with it, and I thought it was crap. And then I played more with it, and maybe I need the right matchups. Like, if I'm up against Amulet, it'll be good. Maybe against Tron or Eldrazi Tron, it'll be good. And I just haven't got those matchups. Toolbox as Foretold deck. I mean, we've had those before. It's nothing new. So, I mean, I don't know why they'd be better positioned now than before, unless they've got some upgrades. What do you think about Reanimator with Protein Hulk? I mean, make a list. Anything is possible. I mean, I have no idea. Have you played against Imperial Recruiter yet? I have not, actually. I have not seen a single Imperial Recruiter. And I thought that when, you know, this Humans deck got second place, we might see Imperial Recruiter in here. But where's the Recruiter? No recruiter. Nowhere in the 75. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I mean, Shardless Agent, I guess, is just a better recruiter. You recruit and you put into play immediately. You think Death Shadow survives the new wave? Yes, Death Shadow is just too strong. Will Urza ever come back? Don't think it got many tools with Modern Horizons 2. I think it got a lot of tools. They printed a lot of artifact cards. Urza 100% will be back. It's too powerful to disappear. Do I play Historic? Rarely, but I sometimes do. But it's rare. What card would you like to see unbanned in Modern to balance out Modern Horizons 2? Well, you don't need to balance out anything. Like, first off, we don't even know where Modern Horizons 2 is going, so there's no reason to unban something to balance something. Dothi Voidwalker Modern Jund mainboard? Maybe. I sort of see Dothi Voidwalker in a deck that wants unblockable creatures. In Jund, you just want individually powerful creatures. I don't know if Dothi Voidwalker works in that particular archetype. The idea is trade, put a big creature in play, and stabilize. Or at least get some value with, like, Seasoned Pyromancer or something. It's possible, especially since you can, like, Thought Seize your opponent. And then from there, you can, like, remove the answers to your Voidwalker. But anyway. Infect died to the Phyrexian update? Not really. It's only relevant if your opponent's playing with Plague Engineer. Ragavan is such a pushed one-drop. It is a strong card, absolutely. Do you think that Dredge is going to survive after Modern Horizons? Do you think it's better or worse after release? I mean, is it going to survive? Absolutely. Like, what it comes down to is there a lot of graveyard hate in the format? No? Okay, then Dredge is good. If there is a lot of graveyard hate in the format, then you have to take a different angle. It is interesting, though, that the premier deck, like graveyard deck right now, is Living End. Because usually that is not the case. And maybe this deck is a little bit better right now because it can combo off at instant speed. But generally speaking, when there is a graveyard deck to play, it is not Living End. It's usually Dredge is the more powerful version. I'd have to ask Sodek, why this? What's the edge here over Dredge? This deck can recover from the graveyard getting wiped. I mean, if they wipe your graveyard, all right, you just start putting more stuff back into the graveyard. You just start cycling again. And it has really good interaction between Force Negation and Brazen Borrower to deal with cards interacting with you. Ignoble Hierarch's still too expensive as well. What do you think? They're all coming down. Don't worry. I haven't seen Ignoble Hierarch much yet. How do you actually get into Modern with no resources at all? You could play for free on a site called Cockatrice. You can also play for free. What are all the free sites? There's Cockatrice. There's Untapped.gg, I believe. Is that a site? Apparently you can play there. Yeah, apparently, like I think you can play here against other people. Explore the meta. Most comprehensive deck. I don't play here, so I don't know anything about this. Download companion. Is this the right place? Or I'm in the wrong place? Is it something else? So there's X Mage. Maybe I'm in the wrong. There's some third site, but I don't know. I don't know the third site. X Mage is also a place. But you get what you paid for. You pay nothing, you're gonna get like that quality. It's untap.in. Is this it? Anyway, I'm not familiar with I'm not familiar with any of this stuff, so I don't play on these free sites. But that is how you do it for free. What do you think is missing Boggles to becoming tier 1? Does any of the Enchantress new things get into it? Maybe. You know what I find is a problem with Boggles? They're not interactive enough. That's all. I don't think they're interactive enough. I think they've got a really good, solid game plan that's invincible, but their opponents interact too well with them. They've got to take a different angle or something. I don't know. They should go black for Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize or something. They've got to play different low. They're the thing with Boggles, the sole problem is that it's a turn 4 deck or longer. Like, it doesn't win quickly. And it's mostly a goldfish deck. Okay, they play their creature, they put the aura, they put the other aura, they put the other aura. There's a lot of decks that can just race that. Like, it's not that special. And also, it's not impossible to interact with either. Lily on the Veil, Edict your damn thing. Thoughtseize the one creature out of your hand. You know what I mean? So, I think Boggles needs to be more interactive in order for it to, like, become more tier 1. Outside of that, they're always just waiting for the metagame to be positioned in a way where Boggles is positioned. Least favorite card to play against so far? I'm sure there is one, but I don't know it off the top of my head. Maybe Asmorano. That really pisses me off. If uncontested, because of the sacrificing foods just killing your creatures over and over again. That is not fun to play against. And it's so cheap. Thoughts on Grief? I hear a lot of disappointment. I've not seen it. I have not seen any play to this card yet. What a surprise! 2 mana Thoughtseize not busted. And then if you build your deck around it with Ephemerate, it's probably pretty jank. Like I said, I'm not I didn't think Grief was gonna take over the metagame at all. However, I mean, we still gotta wait and see. There's a lot of time for, like, people have not even touched every combination of deck that could be built out of Modern Horizons 2 cards. This is just like this Modern Open over the weekend. This was just like, I don't know. This was the metagame after 2 days. Like, come on, that is not going to be the metagame for Modern going forward. We still gotta wait. Still gotta wait. We're gonna have a better picture in 2 weeks. We'll have a much better picture in 2 weeks. Nikachu, what happens if you remove all cards from the ban list? Then you have no ban list Modern. What non-Merfolk deck have you seen? Are you excited to play or test out? None, because I'm much more excited for Merfolk right now. Outside, okay, what would I want to play? Maybe if it wasn't Merfolk, can I get inspiration from here? What would I want to play? Maybe some Cascade deck. Shardless Agent seems like a pretty cool value card. Have you seen the Troll Food combo? Also, what decks do you think are going to break out of Modern Horizons 2? I have seen the Troll Food combo. What decks do you think are going to break out? I don't know what's going to break out. I mean, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting like the rest of you. Do you think Territorial Kavu and Sign of Draco is enough for Domain Zoo to make a comeback? Maybe. One thing that deck has a problem against is probably going to be Living End. What are your answers to that deck? You're just playing with creatures and then they get all wiped away. So I did play against some Zoo decks, but I mean, that's a pretty good card. Turn 2 Kavu, 5/5 by turn 3, strong stuff. I mean, it can be a 5/5 on turn 2, but you need to play with what's it called? You need to get a Triman play first. It is better because Grafdigger's Cage doesn't work on Living End. That is true. Did you see Saffron Olive's expected value of $900 yesterday for a booster box of Modern Horizons? Absolutely hilarious. I know, I did see it. So Modern Horizons currently is worth, based on today's prices, today's ridiculous prices, $900. So if you bought Modern Horizons for anything less than that, you would make a pretty damn good profit. I'm sure if anyone who bought it at like the $300 range, like the cars, they just put so many good playable cards in this set, so many, and it's just boosted the value of the entire set. It's probably going to be the most expensive booster box. It's the most expensive booster box ever, right? I think this is the most expensive booster box ever, even though it's sort of a specialty set. These box prices are nuts, and the singles prices are nuts right now. I know. Honest question, why Shardless Agent is the best Cascade card? Because it's the cheapest, while still being a body on the battlefield. Are the triumphs modern playable? Always have been. Always have been. Do we think Merfolk Splinterfin is well positioned at the moment? I don't know. Probably not. Still a lot of interaction out there. Was there a rules change to who goes first? I never heard of anything like that, so probably no. Can you show the green-white? Is there a green-white enchantment deck list? Oh, there is by Benny Bow. Yeah, go. Let's check out the green-white. Let's check out the new Enchantress potentially. So Benny Bow made 20th place, not too bad. Eidolon of Blossoms, GG, 2 generic for a 2/2 creature. Whenever Eidolon of Blossoms or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. So you guarantee some value out of this thing. Abundant Growth, Enchantress Presence. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Greater Oromancy, 2 mana. Other enchantments you control have Shroud. Enchantment creatures you control have Shroud. Helix Pinnacle, Shroud. Well, that's nice. You can pay an X, put X tower counters on Helix Pinnacle at the beginning of your upkeep. If there are 100 or more tower counters on Helix Pinnacle, you win the game. Solitary Confinement. Skip your draw step. You can't be the target of spells or abilities. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Sterling Grove. Other enchantments you control can't be the target of spells or abilities. So you basically protect all your stuff. Unbrittled Growth. So I guess you want to give yourself hex proof. Get Solitary Confinement in play. This like beats Mill too, because Mill can't mill you out. Unless Mill can randomly hit the Helix. I don't think they have any other way to win the game though. Helix or attack with their Eidolon. Unbrittled Growth. Enchant land, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, sacrifice it, draw a card. Utopia Sprawl. Hall of Healer's Generosity, Mystery Rainforest, a bunch of lands. Sanctum Weaver. Oh, this was a new card. Yeah, green to generic 0/2 tap, add X mana of any one color where X is the number of enchantments you control. And Sithis, Harvest's Hand. Ah, this one. Green and a white 1/2 creature. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and draw a card. That's powerful. That is powerful stuff. Mizuko should print Opalescence to Modern. Well, it's on the reserve list, so not happening. What else is interesting in this list? Detention Vortex. Non-land permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Pay 3. Oh, you can just opponents can destroy it for 3 mana. Destiny Spinner, creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. I thought, oh yeah, I played against this deck the other day, or something similar to it. Force of Vigor, Void, and some Void Mirrors in the sideboard. Anyway. Opalescence, but it draws you a card on ETB. How do they get 100 mana? Well, they can do it every turn. You just keep putting counters on it every turn. So you just pay X, put X counters on Helix Pinnacle, and the next turn you could do it again until you have 100 counters. Give a look at Urza Token in the top 32. Urza Game Objects, I guess. I don't know if this is what you're talking about. It's an Urza deck, though. It's a Karn the Great Creator, Cauldron Familiar, Gilded Goose, Quirion Ranger, Urza deck with Upheaval. Trail of Clum. So for anyone asking, is Urza still playable in Modern? The answer is absolutely yes. Was there another one? Urza Token. I don't know where it is. Sorry about that. Would you play Spreading Seas creature instead of Spreading Seas, or you play both? I would just play with Tide Shaper. That's the only one that's necessary. And it's way better than Spreading Seas. Emiron says, I saw your Merfolk testing earlier today. Do you really think Asmo will get banned? I hope not. And she does some pretty easy to disrupt with Graveyard Hate and Pithing Needle effects. What? I hope not. And she does some pretty easy to she's easy to disrupt with Graveyard Hate. She doesn't even use the graveyard. Like, that's the problem with it. Well, I mean, I don't think this is easy to interact with at all. I mean, you could Pithing Needle her, I guess. This is probably the card that's going to create the most problems in Modern. I mean, maybe it's going to be Shardless Agent, but it doesn't take much to turn this card on, and it doesn't take much to turn it on. Very easy. And this Underworld Cookbook, like, there's no cost to this. There is no cost to this card. You pay 1, you can start tapping it immediately and get value, in my opinion. I will have one random last question. What do you think of Garth One-Eyed? I can't remember what that was. Oh, this thing. It's a janky commander card. I'd be very, very impressed. I'd be very surprised if this ever saw Modern play. Very, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. All right, you know what time it is, everyone? You all know what time it is. It's deck list review time. All right, so for anyone new to the channel, if you want to submit a deck list to be reviewed on the channel, go into my description, join my Discord, go to the channel deck list review, and then when you get to deck list review, don't forget to use the command !space, give the URL to your deck list, and then press enter, and you'll be eligible at random for deck list review. So it should be very interesting. All the new decks that people want to try out for today's Modern metagame. And as we wait for people to submit their deck list, we're going to thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. This is where I pre-ordered all my cards. I haven't pre-ordered any boxes. I'm a singles person personally. I got my Sveloons. Here's the Sveloon right there on the package. They put the good stuff on the packages. Got my Sveloons, my Dock Hands. We should probably get some Suspends. What do they got for Suspend here? I thought Suspend... We might have another video about this. Look at that. Oh my god, it's like $10. This is a card I might have grossly misevaluated. It's not amazing, but it's not pure trash. Like, it's playable. The card's playable. Anyway, deal of the week this week. Apparently 35% off trade-in bonus. Fusion Gaming wants your cards. Sell them your... Oh yeah, I still have a bunch of cards I need to sell. I gotta go sell my cards to Fusion Gaming Online. But if you buy cards from them, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Supports the channel and also gets yourself 5% off on all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And it'll be more useful as the supply of cards increases. There are some cards that are very, very expensive right now. I mean, Ragavans are like $1 billion. Very expensive. You're going to need one of those higher tiers on Mana Traders in order to rent like a deck with Ragavan. But if you didn't want to buy them, you could rent them still with Mana Traders. This is the premier place to rent Magic cards online. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Thank you, Nikachu. I was destroyed for saying Suspend was good. Well, I still don't think it's great, but personally for me as a Merfolk player, it might be better than, say, Dismember. Like, Dismember doesn't kill stuff, or when it does kill stuff, it's like I just take too much life. And I just need... And Suspend can suspend my own Merfolk creatures. I'm just curious, did the Is It Blitz deck use Suspend? Here, there was one Prowess deck. Did they believe in suspend? No. They did not. They continue to play Vapor Snag. Suspend anywhere in this list. Nope. I think Suspend Spot is going to be the most useful in a deck that can target their own creatures and they don't mind waiting a few turns to get them back. Mana Traders making oh yeah, Mana Traders is making bank. That's for sure. Where can you save 5%? FusionGamingOnline.com. By the way, just keep in mind, that is a Canadian website. That's a Canadian local game store. So everything is in Canadian prices. So make sure you do the conversion from American or whatever your currency is. Vapor Snag better than Suspend for Blitz? Very likely, because it deals damage to the opponent, and they want to tempo them out. I thought of Suspend as a tempo card. The problem... Now we're getting back. It's not that... I mean, it's a fine tempo card if you can kill them in 2 turns, but so is Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag will do something very, very, very similar. Have you considered buying the monster for Mono Blue Devotion Merfolk list that you've been running? Yes, but the problem is it doesn't help me versus Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and I want... Amulet Titan is so popular, I want at least something for that matchup. I want to have something for those that matchup. I don't want to play Bind the Monster or just like Dismember kills Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but then does nothing to Primeval Titan. So I'm looking for cards that can deal with both. Because I, for a short period of time, got to play with Path to Exile and Blue-White Merfolk, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. Wow, that actually worked. And now I'm like, I just want to get rid of this damn thing. I want to get rid of these creatures when they enter the battlefield. Yeah, give me likes. Do we play Paper? I do play Paper Modern, but just not right now. Given that's a pandemic. All right. Bravecrawler, congratulations! You are the next contestant on Decklist Review. Rakdos Madness. Oh, yes. So this is one of these going nuts decks. Bloodghast, Rakdos, Headliner, Haste, Echo, discard a card. Kitchen Imp, Madness for 1 mana. Shrapnel Blast, Elms of Vein, Fiery Temper with Madness. Underworld Cookbook, Smuggler's Copter. Why not Hollow One? I would think this is a very good deck for Hollow One. Also, you should probably have Street Wraith in this deck, just so that you can enable this immediately on turn 1. Because this is going to be a great turn 1 play very, very often. I'm very Canadian. What? No, well, Diamond, you have to wait for Diamond Line. Well, there's no Lightning Bolt because they're playing with Fiery Temper. They're trying to make the best use out of... Actually, I don't get this deck. Like, what? So you're trying to discard cards with Rakdos Headliner? Like, what are your discard outlets? You've got Neonate, Headliner, which you have to wait till next turn to discard. Shrapnel Blast, target player lose 3 life, you gain 3 life. Okay, you need better discard outlets. You need to at least play... I think Bloodghast is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with Bloodghast at all. This is a bit cute. Like, you should stick to... You don't have enough discard enablers. We'll just say that. You don't have enough discard enablers. Like, you're not playing with, like... What's it called? Like Goblin Lore, for example. You do hear Pokemon music. The book. We have like so many. And why do... Oh, the book is a... Oh, we do have the book. The book is an enabler. Pay 1, discard a card, create a food token. Aha. So you're actually all in on the cookbook. Interesting. Okay. So maybe we just... This is fine. Maybe this is fine. So you have 4... I'd prefer that you still had something else, but maybe this is fine. 12 is... We're sort of in range now. 1 with nothing. Just discard everything. Okay, so cookbook. Cookbook, Neonate. I prefer there's 1 more, but maybe this is okay. Because you only can discard something once. I'm assuming Shrapnel Blast doesn't belong in this deck. It has no synergy at all. Just no synergy at all. I guess you just want to sacrifice your cookbook or something. This is like, these are okay. I guess this is like sort of a pseudo burn like a pseudo burn deck. Oh, that's interesting. That's a very interesting suggestion. Zombie infestation. That could be a card in here. I could see that happening. Discard a Bloodghast and a what's it called? A Root Wall at the same time. Shrapnel Blast. Oh, Shrapnel Blast is for using food. Okay, well, here's the deal. Make a decision what you want this deck to do. You have a lot of things that depend on Madness. Like, this needs to get Madness into play, or this is a garbage card in your hand. This one doesn't depend nearly as much on Madness. These Fiery Tempers and this Elms of Vein, they're pretty crappy if you don't have Madness online. Maybe you have enough enablers, though. Honestly, it's a pretty clean deck overall. It's a pretty clean deck. Now that I realize that you can use the Underworld Cookbook to discard everything else. Because there's no other room, I think, to squeeze in any other cards. I think at 19 land, I mean, this is it. Is this really so good? Somehow I'm not convinced that a 2-mana 3/3 haste creature is powerful, but maybe it's just good enough in this deck. My understanding of this deck is multiple. You have Asmo and then win win anyway. I would like Street Wraith in this deck, but I guess it's not necessary. You know, like, I think this deck is trying to depend more on playing stuff off of Madness, so discard outlets are most important. Like, and this deck has Underworld Cookbook. And then Asmo, well, Asmo can't get into play until you discard something. So you need to discard something with Insolent Neonate or Rakdos Headliner. No, it can't be a one of in this deck because we were using it to Madness things in play. Squee, unfortunately, is just sort of unplayable. Okay, what do we have? We have Bone Shards, Lightning Axe, Nihil Spellbomb, Asylum Visitor, Break the Ice, Croxa, Smash to Smithereens. Okay. I don't know what's Asylum Visitor for. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Doesn't seem like a sideboard card. Well, if you want to squeeze in Vengevine, you have to make a very different deck, because you need to cast several cards. Oh, Collective Brutality might be a good card in this deck for the sideboard. Because you can discard multiple cards. I know there's a lot. Well, I mean, there's a lot of Faithless Looting's banned. I think a lot of people are making very reasonable suggestions, but I don't even know if we can. There's a lot of different ways to build this deck, for sure. I don't know if there's anything we definitely need to change. I will say this: if you are having trouble casting these cards, you need more discard outlets. Because I don't know if this is enough. I'm not even sure if Kitchen Imp is even worth it. A flying haste creature for 1 mana. Not very impressive, in my opinion. The goal is to be very aggressive with a lot of burn and haste creatures. Well, there are other decks that might do that better than you. The one advantage with this deck is, like, Asmorano and the Underworld Cookbook is really good value. Bloodghast keeps coming back. This is sort of like, in my mind, no, I would not. Elms? Oh, Elms of Vein. I might want to cut, like, some of these other cards so that we can run Street Wraith and Hollow One. Hollow One is just very, very powerful in these types of decks. But, like, I will say this much. I get the sense that you want to, like, burn your opponent out a little bit, so I'm not really going to change this. As you have built it, I will just say that Rakdos Headliner and Kitchen Imp might be underwhelming for threats. They might. Maybe they'll be fine. Maybe Kitchen Imp is better than I think it is. Rakdos Headliner absolutely is going to get roadblocked by a lot of cards in Modern. This is not a very strong card. It's not evasive. Like, maybe you'll... I don't know. Maybe you'll get in that 3 damage and it's going to be worth it. And maybe I would remove Asylum Visitor for something else. I'm not sure what this is for. If that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So the idea is you want to discard your hand and get value. Seems like there could be something better. I might be wrong. There might be. This might be for a matchup that I'm not even anticipating. Asmo can clear the way for Headliner. I think if Asmo is clearing the way, then it doesn't really matter what you're playing. You should consider how good is Headliner when you don't have Asmo in play. Like, if you have Asmo in play and you're online with the Underworld Cookbook, then you're winning no matter what the board state looks like. Because that's how powerful that interaction is. But how good is Headliner when you don't have Asmo in play? That's why people are suggesting things like Hollow One, because Hollow One is amazing no matter what. No matter what. Anyway, those are just my suggestions. I think for the most part, the deck is built pretty well. Like, it's a pretty it's a very clean list. I like that you have a very consistent you've got an idea, and I think you're executing it actually on it very, very well. I think it's going to happen pretty consistently. I'm just concerned about the power level of these 2 cards. This one might be okay because it has evasion. This one does not have evasion. 19 lands might look low, but I think it's going to be fine. A lot of these cards just cost 2. Like, everything costs 2. This is like 1 mana, essentially. This is 1 mana. I think it's going to be fine. 19 lands is okay. It has a random Smuggler's Copter as well. So anyway, thank you very much for the list. And hey, good luck with this. I think there's a lot of Asmorano cards. Sorry, Asmorano decks that need to be explored. This is one variation that could definitely be explored. And I think it's really good idea to have like multiples of these Underworld cookbooks to get the full value of your Fiery Temper, for example, and your Elms of Vain. Although, hold on, let me think for a second. Wow. I'm wondering if you have the... I'm a little concerned that you have this in your deck for the sake of having it. I mean, you do get a little synergy out of it if you like discard it with Insolent Neonate, but it's not like the most mind-blowing synergy. Like, you get a free lightning bolt. But when it comes to Rakdos Headliner, it's not really a free lightning bolt. It's like you're working hard to get a lightning bolt, period. And then with the Underworld cookbook, it's like you're playing a lightning bolt to get a food token. Some of these madness cards, like, these madness cards are great if you can like, if you play Goblin Lore, for example, you're supposed to discard the card and it's supposed to go to the graveyard, but instead you actually got some value out of it. Well, so the idea is Fiery Temper is better than Bolt because there's going to be situations in this deck where you have to discard cards and instead you get value instead of discarding them. But the value is, like, really sus. It's sus. Anyway, just something to keep in mind, because Fiery Temper is acting very close to a clunky Lightning Bolt in this deck. I think its best use is, like, discarding it with Insolent Neonate and you draw a card anyway. So it's like a Bolt with draw a card. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Good luck with the list. Good luck with the list. It's a unique list. I like it. Moving on. Goaltendier. Well, just a reminder to everyone that I'm not clearing the queue for a week. So at the end of Friday, I clear the queue. So if you submit the list after Friday, it's still good today. Okay, affinity tokens. Darksteel Citadel, Forest, Gingerbread Cabin. Enters the battlefield untapped, create a food token. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other forests. Okay. Inkmoth Nexus, Nurturing Peatland, Overgrown, Swamp, Verdant Catacombs, Yavimaya. So we have Academy Manufacturer, Sorry, manufactor. 3 mana, 1/3. If you create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. That could be really, really powerful. Darksteel Juggernaut, 5 mana, indestructible. Power and toughness are each equal to number of artifacts you control. Attacks each turn if able. Gilded Goose, Glimmer Baron. Oh yeah, this is the sacrifice. Did we go through this one before? Maybe we had something similar. Ornithopter, Salvage Titan. You may sacrifice 3 artifacts rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Exile 3 artifacts. From your graveyard, return Salvage Titan from your graveyard to your hand. So you can sacrifice 3 artifacts rather than pay a spell's mana cost. Cranial Plating, Springleaf Drum, Welding Jar. Confront the unknown. Investigate the then target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each clue token you control. And then Ancient Stirrings. How the hell? Okay, Darksteel Juggernaut. Sorry, if you were to create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead one of each. So how do you enable this? Gingerbread Cabin? Gilded Goose? There's not a lot of enablers for this card. I think this is actually the deck is a little bit different. I don't think this Academy Manufactor is very good if you don't have enough ways of creating even a single clue or food at all. Like, you have Gilded Goose, and that's basically it. And this Gingerbread Cabin. And this sounds really hard to pull off because you need at least 3 or more forests in play, which you have nothing even close to in this deck. So this card is very rarely even going to create anything. Tireless Tracker sounds like a good option, and the cat combo. But like, that might be a very different deck. But if I were to change very little in this deck, but still give this card a chance, you could play with Tireless Tracker. And it actually would work on curve. So that would work on curve. What you do is you go turn 3 Manufactor, turn 4 you play your Tireless Tracker, then play a fetch land, crack it, get a bunch of stuff. This deck wants treasures. And I'm guessing you want to play... Well, okay, I guess you play Cranial Plating, you have a bunch of those artifacts in play, so it just makes your stuff bigger. More investigate effects plus some food generators. That one from Gruel Adventures in this deck would be nice. Play Tireless Snacker. I can't remember what it's actually called. Tireless Tracker. Tireless Provisionary. Tireless Provisions, maybe? I don't know what this card is. Oh, Provisioner. Landfall enters the battlefield in your control. Create a food token or a treasure token. I guess this is okay, but it's not good as tracker. We can't put too much random stuff in here. So instead of Darksteel Juggernaut, play with Tireless Tracker. And then instead of... I'll keep this card because it's randomly funny. Instead of Welding Jar, I don't even feel like this is a very good Welding Jar deck. Or maybe is it Confront the Unknown, Investigate. Then target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each clue you control. I don't know. This seems like trash to me. I'm not a fan of this card. Play Tireless Tracker instead of this card. Ancient Stirrings is fine. I think that's about it. I would just, so like between so if you have Academy Manufactor out, you can like create tokens with Gilded Goose, or you can like play Tireless Tracker on curve and start making like a bunch of affinity stuff. And that hopefully that'll beef up your Cranial Plating. Ignoble to ramp to the Manufacturer? No. Well, I think they're using Gilded Goose to ramp, because this thing can create food tokens every turn. this deck looks like Canister's Game Objects deck. Maybe it's based on that. I would say Arcbound Ravager is a good card. I just don't know what... maybe that does have good synergy. I just don't know what to take out. I think they're just trying to win with Cranial Plating, to be honest, or the Salvage Titan. They're like all in on this Cranial Plating and Salvage Titan plan. Is Salvage Titan even that good? It's just a 6/4 creature. It's possible. Instead of Salvage Titan, you should probably play with Ravager, because Ravager is just a more efficient... Well, I don't know what the synergy is going to look like in the end. This is not... You're not really all in on artifacts. Like, you got a bunch of non-artifact cards in the deck, and that doesn't synergize well with Ravager. Synergizes very poorly with Ravager. Is there anything in the sideboard? Okay, Gilded Goose plus Academy Manufacturer equals 3 tokens each turn. This token boosts Glimmer. Yeah, okay, I get it. So you should have just more synergy with your Academy Manufacturer, and that's why we want to add in Tireless Tracker. And if you do that, you can, like, you know, Ancient Stirrings for your Manufacturer, and then, you know, get that synergy. Get that synergy. And at the very least, you know, Tireless Tracker is creating clues that can draw you cards. It can get pretty big itself. And that's about it. I might be also very careful about this. I might not play with Gingerbread Cabin. I don't think you're going to have 3 forests in play, to be honest. You're always going to have an Ink Moth or a Nurturing Peatland or Swamp or... Oh, you might have it with Yavimaya Cradle. You might have it. Maybe I'm wrong here. Because Yavimaya Cradle saves you here. Okay, you can keep it. Maybe Yavimaya Cradle of Growth is going to save you. Anyway, those are my suggestions. I think... Actually, you guys suggested a lot of good stuff. I think you guys suggested that Tireless Tracker. Very key. And I think that's going to be it for Decklist review. It's a very neat... It's obviously a pretty janky deck. But hopefully this jank storms through for victory. But maybe the greatest takeaway from this deck is, like, you can't depend on, like, just 2 cards for synergy. You got it, like, if you want to make your combo consistent, you have to have other enablers. I think Tireless Tracker is probably just the easiest way to enable that. And ideally, you have enough fetch lands to enable it. So you have, like, 4 here. Whatever, 4 is better than nothing. 4 is better than nothing. So good luck with the list. All right, that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG today. You want to see the replays? Go check out Nikachu MTG streams for all your replay needs. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. If you'd like to support Coffee and MTG and you are not already, you can always leave a sub at twitch.tv. You can become a patron at patreon.com, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. And once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. We had a great conversation, great talk. Maybe we'll see the results of the Modern Challenge from Sunday soon. We're going to get those results, see what Modern is going to shape up to be, because it's going to have an impact. You know, those first initial results has a big impact going forward. If Living End starts taking over, everyone's going to gravitate towards Living End. Shardless Agent's going to make its mark on Modern. So, as usual, keep brewing up those coffees. We'll keep brewing up magic. I'll see you all next time.